What was the culture like as you met these people? What was your first encounter with them, and how did you sort of respond to them, and how did they respond to you?
So we first got in the village on the first day. The elders of the village come and greeted us, and we had 3 different interpreters that spoke English and Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the elders in the village spoke Spanish, but they also spoke Ashil, which is the village language.
Oh, wow.
And with our interpreters, we could speak with them pretty well, get a point across.
How were the living conditions? How did you sleep? Were you able to work hard enough that you just went right to sleep, or what?
We slept. They'd made some bunk beds and on air mattresses that usually went flat.
I think that's starting to answer the question.
The public transport was the buses they'd bring up,
Uh-huh.
and they would come up through the mountain roads at 3:00 in the morning and be laying on their air horns, letting the village know that they were coming up there, and then you'd kind of get off the road or we get back. And so once those kind of came through, it was a little hard to go back to sleep.
Right.
We weren't, we weren't going there thinking we were going to stay in the nicest places,
Yes.
But they tried to give us everything they could, to make us feel as at home as they could. It just, we take for granted some of the stuff that we have here that they just didn't have there.
Right.
And the accommodations, primitive but effective.
What were some of the thoughts that went through your mind as you saw this lifestyle unfold in front of you?
Yeah, it's just definitely a change. You talk about the people not having anything; they didn't know any different, and I feel like they were happy.
Mm-hmm.
They know there's stuff out there that they could use and make their lives better, but they just went along with what they had, and just what they did.
Right. They have the essential food, clothing, and shelter that sustains them.
And they had to work all day to get that.
Right. Interesting. Did any of them, were they able to help you at all as you were building?
Yeah.
And what were they doing to help you all?
That was part of the project. Part of people getting electricity in their homes was they had to log so many hours on the project.
Oh, really?
The people that were able to.
Mm-hmm.
The middle-aged kids, the young men,
Uh-huh.
the working class, basically.
Right.
They pulled line for us. They actually dug all the pole holes, all the anchor holes, set the poles.
Did they do that manually?
Yes.
Like with shovels and
Rock
stuff?
bar.
When you bring the power in, how are you getting the power from somewhere else to this village?
So the other village, they had a water generation plant. They had a dam that they used to make electricity, and they had a small grid in their village, and we just tied onto that grid and brought single phase over.
And their grid's big enough to
Yep.
support.
Yep, they built it in mind of expanding onto the next villages.
And so one of the things, because I hear people talk about this a lot, one of the things people don't consider, and maybe you guys can explain how you did it, but so you bring power into a village like that, and you bring it into the house and all that. Well, it's not like they have outlets in every room and all that sort of thing. So how do you take it from the main power all the way down to the minute? And then what do they plug into it? Because if they've never had power, it's not like they've got 38, like a microwave sitting around that they're just ready to plug in.
So the first phase of this project was the one I went on, and we built the high line from village to village, 2.25 miles, and we strung some of the secondaries, hung 4 of the 5 transformers, and then we were able to have some extra time. We got done a little bit early, and we were able to wire their school, principal's office, a community kitchen, and some other things. And we actually took it all the way into the house, set meters, put plug-ins, light switches, lights, everything.
And you were able to bring all of that equipment with you, or the parts and the pieces that you needed.
We brought all of our tools,
Mhm.
and of course we didn't have all the luxuries we got back here, but
Right.
We had enough to get what we needed done, and the project manager had all of our material there at the village. They had it drop shipped.
Right. And how did they respond when? I mean, obviously, you mentioned they were using generators before, and some
small generators.
Yeah, and some solar power.
Yep.
But was there this sort of moment of sort of like
for sure,
turning on the plaza lights for them? Yeah,
for sure. We got to spend some time with the little kids, flipping on lights in their school,
I see.
They got to see the dusted on. We hung 2 dusted ons on the main drag in the village, and they got to see them come on one night, and everybody was cheering.
Very nice.
It was good.
What were some of the things that you were thinking of in retrospect as you look back on the experience?
Oh, I think, looking back, you appreciate the smaller things more. I mean, I'm not a little guy, and most of the time, something as simple as my feet hanging off the end of the bed down there, where I actually got a bed to, sleep in.
Right.
But, looking back and just having, it was kind of a sense of accomplishment when we finished the project. But, to about everybody that goes, it's a lot more than that. It's, bringing something to people that they've never had before. And, just you're helping, our thought is we're making their lives better. And we're bringing them something good. And, I mean, there's stuff, that, I missed up. I've got a little boy, I miss not seeing him.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Getting back to that kind of stuff was nice.
Yeah.
But no, it's a rewarding experience. Definitely eye-opening. Some people would probably say life-changing. If you had never been anywhere or done anything kind of like that. But just to look back on it, it's such a unique experience, and it would be something I'd go on if I had the opportunity. And we're fortunate enough to go again, I would go in a heartbeat.
Well done. And I mean, I think you represent Platte Clay Electric Cooperative so well. And both of you guys, Brad Mick and Seth Henry, thank you both for being with us today and sharing this really fascinating experience, I think, of the humanity of Platte Clay Electric Cooperative. I mean, it's a big power company. We talked about it, when I had you all on here before, and we just love the humanity aspect of it. So a job well done by all of you, and thanks for being with us today. Thank you very much, all of you who are listening and watching. We'll see you next week.